The conservation professional carries out a variety of activities to achieve its primary goal, the preservation of cultural property. The expectations of the conservator are stated in the AIC Code of Ethics and Guidelines for Practice when it says, the conservation professional shall strive to attain the highest possible standard in all aspects of conservation, and also when it says, the conservation professional shall contribute to the evolution and growth of the profession. But in my experience, these expectations are not easy to attain for professionals with whom I have worked with in the Dominican Republic and the Caribbean region, as opportunities for growth and evolution have not been readily available. Some of the causes that I have observed for this are that many of these professionals lack formal training or have few opportunities for obtaining it, and have a limited professional network. In this age of cyber communications, there is a lot of information out there for museum professionals, which may be useful for learning, keeping up to date, and networking. And it is available instantaneously, not in the span of months as before. But many users may not properly discern this information if they do not have a professional network with whom to discuss or consult. I would like to share with you today some of my own experiences with professional networking in hopes of encouraging discussions and suggestions on where to go from here alongside APOYO to increase participation in the network. When I graduated from the Winterthur Museum, University of Delaware program in art conservation in 1988, I already came out with a modest network of colleagues and professors. Upon moving back to the Dominican Republic, I encountered a small community of traditional restorers and museum professionals who, for the most part, were working in isolation. So when I needed to consult a colleague, I would reach out to my Winterthur network, which during those pre-internet years meant writing a postal letter and then waiting weeks for the reply to reach me. Throughout the years, my professional network grew by attending international meetings of AIC, IIC, and ICOM-CC. One of these was the 1992 IIC meeting in Madrid, which drew many professionals from Latin America, as the theme was Conservation of Iberian and Latin American Cultural Heritage. It was there that I first met Amparo Rueda, who was already promoting this new organization that she was directing called APOYO. APOYO established a program with FAIC to offer travel grants for conservation professionals from Latin America and the Caribbean to attend the AIC annual meetings sponsored by the Getty Foundation. I was awarded this grant twice, which contributed to my keeping abreast of the trends and information in the field and to expand my professional network both in the US and in Latin America. This is one of the two meetings. Thank you again, APOYO, for that. My main activity of my private practice is in the treatment of paintings, where I have provided training opportunities for apprentices and volunteers. Worth noting is the case of former conservation technician Ruaidi Lombard, seen on the left. I encourage Ruaidi to apply for an APOYO AIC-FAIC Getty travel grant to attend the AIC annual meeting in Miami in 2002. His attendance to this meeting was an eye-opening experience, after which he completed a college degree and then went to Valencia, Spain, where he obtained a master's degree in conservation. Today, Ruaidi works in the Ministry of Education and in private practice in conservation in Santo Domingo. In this case, I was the networker between Ruaidi and APOYO. Sometimes professional development and international networking opportunities result from activities organized by cultural institutions. One case in point was the Fundación Arawak, dedicated to the promotion of drawings, for which I directed a workshop on conservation and preventive care of works of art on paper. Through Amparo, I contacted U.S. conservators Ann Seibert, then Library of Congress, and Catherine Maynard from the Smithsonian American Art Museum. Although this was a pioneering event in conservation in the country, in my opinion, most of the participants did not take full advantage of it, as they did not have the basic knowledge in paper conservation needed for it. By then, the internet and email communication were becoming widespread, which facilitated organizing these types of activities. I remember that Anne and Kate were the ones who introduced me to this new conservation distribution list called APOYOnline, a still valuable networking tool. Beginning in 1999, I was visiting lecturer in a local graduate program in the conservation of monuments and local cultural heritage in Santo Domingo. Aimed at students of the Dominican Republic and the Caribbean, I taught preventive conservation of collections as a complement to the training they received in heritage preservation. I included on the reading list some of the Spanish translations that APOYO had posted, which provided some of the up-to-date Spanish literature then available. These graduates have returned to their respective countries, where some of them have moved on to occupy positions in heritage and culture, and they may be the only ones or some of the few ones with the knowledge to care for collections. This experience also provided us all with a professional network in the Caribbean. Working in museum projects also provides opportunities for networking. One of them was the construction of the Centro León in Santo Domingo, for which I was conservation consultant. Opened in 2003, this museum houses collections mainly in the visual arts, archaeology, and anthropology. During this project, I executed a comprehensive conservation plan, which included preventive conservation, advice on building construction, exhibit design and production, collections management, and training of staff. Worth mentioning are the following conservation projects. A summer work project to survey and stabilize the archaeological collections. It was directed by Nancy Odegaard, Objects Conservator of the Arizona State Museum, with the participation of Teresa Murphy Myers, graduate intern from Buffalo State College. This was the first international summer conservation program in the country. A treatment project of objects slated for exhibition with participation of U.S. Conservator Esther Chow, graduate from NYU. During this project, there was also the task of moving the collections to the new building. Prior to her arrival, Esther was working at the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian, where they were at the time undertaking a massive move of objects from the Bronx to Maryland. After studying the state-of-the-art packing techniques used by the A&M AI, we designed creative adaptations of them using local supplies and carefully training the move team. Latin American advisors also contributed their expertise, such as Mexican photograph conservator Fernanda Valverde and paper and photograph conservator Maria Fraino from Venezuela. Now in its 12th year, the Centro León is a modern institution that, in my opinion, has marked a before and after in museums in the Dominican Republic. By participating in this museum project, I had the unique opportunity to network with a spectrum of local and international museum professionals. Another museum project was the 2-week-long collections conservation project at the National Gallery of Jamaica, which I directed with the assistance of winter tour graduate student Anya McDavis Conway. We conducted a conservation assessment, surveyed the conditions of the works, reactivated the conservation facility at the Institute of Jamaica, executed minor conservation treatments, and did educational activities. This project provided the participants with supervision, training, and networking opportunities. Oh, here's the educational components, the public talk, and training of the collection staff. The role of, through my professional experiences, I realized how little understanding there was about conservation. After doing research on the history of conservation, I found how museums face many challenges due to often weak institutional frameworks, limited availability of trained museum professionals, little awareness of the conservation profession, and small to non-existent budgets to care for the collections. That was when I began thinking that in order to raise professionalism, we needed the umbrella of an organization. Even then, in my opinion, the advances in conservation would only go so far unless museums advanced as well. One such existing organization is the ICOM Dominican Republic National Committee. Founded in 1977, it includes a diverse museum community and provides a global network of professionals and resources. So when in 2007 I was invited to serve on the board, I decided to give it a try. Indeed, the ICOM network has provided our members with opportunities for professional development, resources, and networking, such as training courses at the ICOM International Training Center at the Palace Museum in Beijing. Out of the 4 courses held to date, 3 of them, Dominicans have been selected for 3 of them. Travel grants to attend the ICOM General Conferences and International Committee meetings, and support for special projects. This year we just received funding to hold the first joint meeting between ICOM Dominican Republic and ICOM Haiti, scheduled for the fall. Last summer, I supervised Winter Tour graduate student Kelly McCauley during her 3-week internship at the Museum of Natural History in Santo Domingo. Kelly conducted a comprehensive conservation assessment, which is expected to help with current practices by staff, as well as to help in the museum's longer-term development. In my opinion, in addition to Kelly's solid training and experience, the international professional network that she consulted with during this project provided her with additional knowledge and perspectives, which enabled her to render a more thorough and up-to-date final report. This project gave Kelly experience and new professional contacts. As for myself, it allowed me to reconnect with fellow conservators and professors from my graduate school and meet new ones during my visiting winter tour for a lunch lecture for the students prior to the project. In a way, it was coming full circle to where my professional networking began. Reflecting on my experience working in the Dominican Republic and the Caribbean region, in my opinion, museums and museum professionals face many issues that are common to the rest of Latin America, probably to developing countries in general. Among these issues are the need to raise awareness of the mission of museums and the role of museum professionals, and to provide opportunities for professional development. In striving to achieve this goal, museum professionals may benefit greatly by having a network of professionals. In our daily work, we naturally meet people and make professional relationships. In my case, I have established networks through my own training, by training, supervising, and mentoring others, in academic institutions, in professional projects, and by serving in professional organizations. And thanks to the wide spectrum of electronic communications and social media available today, professional networking can be so more readily achieved than before. Existing organizations that promote the preservation and conservation of cultural property may provide a platform for the professional network needed to advance conservation development and museums in general. Some of these may be ICOM, ICOMOS, ICROM, to name a few that have a presence and contacts in many countries. In the Dominican Republic, we have taken advantage of ICOM and its global network. Presently, ICOM Dominican Republic is at the forefront in providing local support and training opportunities for museum professionals. My experiences with networking are just one example. I am sure that you all can come up with your own list of networks and what works best for your community. Through it all, I have counted on Apoyo in several ways, be it for networking, for obtaining opportunities to attend professional meetings, or for consulting translations of professional articles. But busy as we are, conservators usually are, we take for granted these contacts. We know this network is out there. We know where to find people when we need them. Conversely, we may not be contributing enough to these networks. Today, Apoyo is proposing to join efforts to increase participation in their network. I salute and support this initiative, as it may provide the platform where we could achieve the goal of improving professional development in Latin America and the Caribbean. Let's hope that today we can all achieve just this. Thank you.